Hello, and welcome back to Talk and Tell English. I am so happy you are here with me today. My name is Emma, and this channel is all about helping you grow your English one story at a time. In today's episode, we have a long listening practice story. The story is called The Road Back to Yourself. It is a real and emotional story about a young woman named Mia. She goes through many changes in her life. She faces difficult moments and beautiful moments. She learns important lessons, and slowly, she finds her way back to who she truly is. The language in this story is slow and clear. I will explain new and useful words as we go. You do not need a dictionary. You do not need to pause. Just relax, listen, and let the English flow into your mind naturally. If you enjoy this episode, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Talk and Tell English, and share it with a friend who is also learning. Your support helps us create more content like this for you. Now, take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let us begin. Mia was 26 years old when she decided to leave her hometown. Hometown means the place where you were born or grew up. She had lived in that small town her whole life. She knew every street, every shop, and every face. But she had always felt a quiet desire, a strong wish inside her heart to see more of the world. Her family was not happy about her decision. They worried about her. To worry means to feel afraid or anxious about something. Her mother sat at the kitchen table with sad eyes. Her father kept asking the same question over and over. But why do you have to go so far? Mia understood their concern. Concern means worry or care for someone's well-being. She loved her family deeply, but she also knew that staying would slowly make her feel empty. Empty means without purpose or meaning. The morning she left, the sky was gray and soft with clouds. She packed one large bag. She had clothes, a few books, her notebook, and a small photo of her family. The photo made her feel connected, even when she was far away. Connected means having a link or bond with something or someone. She took the early train to the city. The train moved through green fields and quiet villages. Mia pressed her face against the window and watched the world pass by. She felt nervous. Nervous means worried or anxious about what might happen. But she also felt something else. She felt alive. To feel alive means to feel full of energy, emotion, and purpose. When the train arrived at the city station, the noise was overwhelming. Overwhelming means too much to take in at once. There were so many people, so many sounds, so many directions. She stood in the middle of the busy station and held her bag tightly. She took a deep breath and told herself one simple thing. You are here. Now, begin. Mia had found a small apartment before she arrived. She had searched online and found a place that was affordable. Affordable means something that is cheap enough for you to pay for it. The apartment was on the 4th floor of an old building. The elevator was broken, so she had to carry her heavy bag up the stairs. By the time she reached her door, she was breathing hard and laughing at herself. The apartment was small but clean. There was a single window that looked out over a quiet street. When she opened it, cool air came in, and she could hear birds singing from the trees below. She sat on the floor because there was no furniture yet. Furniture means tables, chairs, beds, and other large items in a room. She ate a simple sandwich and looked around her empty space. She wrote in her notebook, "This is my beginning. It does not look like much, but it is mine." The next day, she walked through her new neighborhood. A neighborhood is the area around the place where you live. She found a small market, a bakery with warm bread in the window, a library with tall wooden doors, and a little coffee shop on the corner. She decided that this coffee shop would be her thinking place. She would come here when she needed to feel calm or get ideas. The first few weeks were lonely. Lonely means feeling sad because you do not have company or connection. She did not know anyone in the city. She spent most of her evenings reading or writing in her notebook. Sometimes she called her mother and tried to sound cheerful. Cheerful means happy and positive, but her mother always knew when something was wrong. Mothers always do. Mia found a job at a small bookshop near the city center. It was not the job she had dreamed of, but it felt right. The bookshop smelled of old paper and coffee. The shelves were packed with books of every kind: novels, history, poetry, cooking, science, and philosophy. Philosophy means the study of ideas about life, meaning, and how to live well. Her manager was a tall man named Mr. Hanna. He was quiet and serious, but kind. Serious means focused and not joking very much. He showed her how to organize the shelves, how to use the computer system, and how to talk to customers. Customers are people who come to buy things from a shop. Mia was a quick learner. She was good at remembering where books were placed. She enjoyed recommending books to people. To recommend means to suggest something because you think it is good. When a customer looked lost or confused, she would walk up and say, "Can I help you find something?" Her voice was calm and warm. People trusted her. One afternoon, a young man came into the shop. He was carrying a torn backpack and a look of deep concentration on his face. Concentration means giving your full attention to something. He was reading the back of a book about travel in South America. He did not notice Mia watching him. She found it amusing, funny, and interesting at the same time. She walked over and said, "That book is excellent." Excellent means very, very good. The writer spent 2 years by bus and boat. Every chapter is like a different world. The young man looked up. His name was Sam. He had warm brown eyes and a slow smile. He said, "You've read it?" "3 times," she said. He laughed. They talked for almost 30 minutes in the aisle. An aisle is the space between rows of shelves in a shop. Sam was a photographer. A photographer is someone who takes pictures as their job or hobby. He was planning a trip and looking for inspiration. Inspiration means ideas or feelings that make you want to create or do something. Before he left, he bought the book and said, "Maybe I'll come back and tell you if it's as good as you say." Mia smiled and said, "I hope you do." She watched him walk out the door and felt something warm in her chest, something she had not felt in a long time. Mia's journey continued. Sam did come back. He came back the following Saturday, and then the Saturday after that. They began meeting for coffee at the small shop on the corner. Their conversations were long and easy. They talked about books, travel, photography, music, and the strange questions of life. Mia felt comfortable with him in a way that was rare. Rare means not common. It doesn't happen very often. At the same time, Mia was growing in other ways too. She signed up for a writing class at the local community center. A community center is a building where people in the area can come together to learn, meet, and do activities. The class was on Wednesday evenings. There were 12 students. Some were old, some were young. Some were very confident writers, and some were just beginning. Mia was somewhere in the middle. She had always written in her private notebook, but she had never shared her writing with others. The thought of it made her feel vulnerable. Vulnerable means exposed, like your feelings or weaknesses can be seen by others. The teacher was a woman named Clara. She had short gray hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. She told the class on the first night, "Writing is not about being perfect, it is about being honest." Honest means telling the truth, even when it is not easy. The most powerful stories are the ones that feel real. Her words stayed with Mia. Over the following weeks, she began to write about her own experiences. She wrote about leaving home. She wrote about loneliness. She wrote about the bookshop and the smell of old paper. She wrote about her mother's worried eyes and her father's questions. One evening, she read a short piece aloud to the class. Aloud means speaking so that others can hear you. Her voice was shaking slightly at first. Slightly means a little. But as she continued, her voice became steadier. Steadier means more controlled and calm. When she finished, the room was quiet for a moment. Then Clara said, "That was brave, and it was beautiful." Brave means showing courage even when you are afraid. Mia felt tears in her eyes, not from sadness, from relief and pride. Relief means a feeling of comfort after stress. Pride means a warm feeling you get when you have done something well. Mia went through a difficult period 6 months after she arrived in the city. A period means a length of time. Things began to go wrong in small and large ways. First, she got sick. Not dangerously sick, but sick enough to stay in bed for 2 weeks with a high fever. A fever means your body temperature. First, she got sick. Not dangerously sick, but sick enough to stay in bed for 2 weeks with a high fever. A fever means your body temperature is higher than normal because you are unwell. She had no one to bring her soup or medicine. She had to take care of herself. It was the first time she truly felt the weight of being alone. Then, the bookshop lost some of its business. Business means the activity of selling goods and making money. A large online store had opened, and many customers stopped coming into physical shops. Physical means something you can see and touch in real life. Mr. Hana had to reduce the working hours of his staff. Staff means the people who work in a place. Mia went from 5 days a week to 3. This meant less money every month. She started to feel the pressure of her situation. Pressure means a feeling of stress caused by problems or responsibilities. She calculated her expenses carefully. Expenses are the things you must pay for: rent, food, transportation. She stopped going to the coffee shop every day. She stopped buying new books. She even thought about calling her parents and telling them she wanted to come home. One evening, she sat by her window and looked out at the dark street below. She felt defeated. Defeated means feeling like you have lost and cannot continue. She opened her notebook and wrote, "Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe this was too big for me." She stared at those words for a long time. Then she turned the page and wrote something else. "But I am still here, and that means something." The next morning, she made a decision. She would not give up. Instead, she would adapt. To adapt means to change your approach when life changes around you. She found a second part-time job tutoring students in English and writing. To tutor means to teach someone in a small, personal setting, not in a big classroom. She advertised her services on a community board, and within 2 weeks, she had 3 students. It was not easy. She was tired most evenings, but slowly the pressure eased. To ease means to become less difficult or intense. One afternoon, Mia received a letter. Not an email, an actual paper letter in the mailbox. It was from an old friend named Yuki who had moved to another country years ago. They had not spoken in a very long time. The letter was handwritten. Handwritten means written by hand, not typed on a computer. The handwriting was small and neat. Yuki wrote that she had been thinking about Mia. She wrote that she missed their old conversations. She wrote about her own life, her new job, a small garden she had planted, and a cat she had adopted. Adopted means to take someone or something into your life and care for them. But near the end of the letter, Yuki wrote something that stopped Mia completely. She wrote, "I have always admired you, Mia, even when you did not know it. You have a way of making people feel seen." Seen means noticed and understood, not just looked at. Please do not forget that about yourself. Mia read those words several times. She held the letter in her hands for a long time. She thought about how strange and wonderful it is that sometimes the person who saves you from doubt is someone far away, writing with a pen, thinking about you. She wrote back to Yuki that same evening. She wrote 5 full pages. It was the longest letter she had ever written. Spring arrived. The city became warmer and brighter. Trees along the street grew green leaves, and the market nearby began selling fresh flowers. Mia's life had changed in many small ways, and she could feel the difference. Sam had returned from his trip to South America. He had taken hundreds of photographs. He came into the bookshop one afternoon with a big smile and a printed photo as a gift for Mia. It was a picture of a small bookshop he had found in a mountain village. The sign above the door was hand-painted, and the shelves were visible through the window. It looked like a place from a story. "I thought of you when I saw it," he said. Mia put the photo on her shelf at home. She looked at it every morning. Around this time, her writing teacher, Clara, asked her something unexpected. She said, "Mia, have you ever thought about submitting your writing to a magazine?" To submit means to send your work to someone like an editor or a publisher, hoping they will accept it. A magazine is a publication that prints articles, stories, or essays regularly. Mia had never considered this seriously before. She felt uncertain. Uncertain means not sure about something. But Clara encouraged her gently. To encourage means to give someone confidence and support. Mia spent 3 weeks working on a short personal essay. An essay is a short piece of writing about one topic or idea. She wrote about the experience of leaving home. She revised it many times. To revise means to read your work again and make changes to improve it. She read it aloud to herself late at night until every sentence felt right. Then one evening, with her heart beating fast, she sent it to a small literary magazine. Literary means related to written works like stories, essays, and poems. And she waited. 3 weeks later, she received an email from the magazine. She stared at the subject line for several minutes before opening it. Her hands were trembling. Trembling means shaking because of emotion or nervousness. The email said, "Dear Mia, we are pleased to inform you that we would like to publish your essay in our next issue." Publish means to print and share your work with the public. She read the sentence 3 times. Then she sat very still for a moment. Then she let out a long, slow breath, the kind of breath you breathe out when you have been holding something inside for a long time. She called Sam. She called Clara. She called her parents. Her mother cried. Her father said very quietly, "We always knew." That phrase, "we always knew," made Mia cry too, because sometimes love sounds like belief, and sometimes the people who worried most are also the ones who believed in you the most. The essay was published the following month. Mia held the magazine in her hands in the bookshop. Mr. Hanna had ordered several copies specially. He shook her hand and said, "I always knew my staff was extraordinary." Extraordinary means far above ordinary. It means rare and impressive. A few of her writing classmates came to celebrate. They brought small cakes and sparkling juice. They sat between the bookshelves and talked and laughed. Mia looked around at their faces and felt something she had been searching for without knowing it. She felt a sense of belonging. Belonging means feeling that you are a part of something and that you are wanted and included. Months passed. Seasons changed. Mia continued writing, continued working, and continued growing. One autumn evening, she was sitting at the coffee shop on the corner. The window was fogged from the warm air inside. She was looking at her notebook, which was almost completely full of writing. She thought about the girl who had stood in the train station with one bag and no real plan. She thought about all the moments in between, the lonely evenings, the high fever, the money worries, the first time she read her writing aloud with a shaking voice, the letter from Yuki, the photo from Sam, the email from the magazine, the look on her mother's face when she called with the news. She opened to a new page and began to write. She wrote slowly, choosing each word carefully. She wrote, "The road back to yourself is not straight. It does not go in one smooth direction. It turns and doubles back and sometimes disappears completely. There are days when you feel completely lost. There are days when you sit on the floor of an empty apartment and wonder if you made the biggest mistake of your life. But you keep going, not because it is easy, not because you are never afraid, but because something inside you, quiet and steady, like a small flame, never goes out. That is the thing worth protecting. That is the thing worth finding. She sat back and looked at what she had written. Then she smiled to herself. Not a large, dramatic smile, just a small, warm, quiet one. The kind of smile that says, I am okay. I am exactly where I am supposed to be. And that is the story of Mia, and in many ways, it's a story about all of us. Today, you heard many useful words. You heard about being overwhelmed, feeling too much at once. You heard about vulnerability, the feeling of being open and exposed. You heard about adapting, changing your approach when life changes around you. You heard about belonging, the feeling of being a part of something, of being wanted and included. And you heard about perseverance. Perseverance means continuing forward even when things are hard. These are not just English words. They are the words of real human experience. And that is why learning English through stories is so powerful, because when you understand the language, you understand the life inside the language. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today at Talk and Tell English. If this story helped you, or if it moved you in some way, please leave a comment below. I read every single one. Tell me which part you liked most. Tell me which word you learned today. Tell me what the story made you think about. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to Talk and Tell English so you never miss a new episode. We publish stories like this regularly. Slow, clear, meaningful English for learners who are serious about growing. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and remember, every story you understand is a step closer to the English speaker you are becoming. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.